in to try and take that load off him, and you can get someone who'll come in and be the more enforcer type, if you like.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I think a lot of fans, Dundee fans last year, were kind of looking at Doug Clarkson to kind of fill that role last year, but that didn't quite go the way I guess anyone was expecting, and he didn't really do that as much. I mean, he had a couple of fights, but he wasn't as physical, I think, as a lot of folk were expecting him to be, so Freeman kind of stepped up on a couple of occasions. But I think, Sescon coming in, I think he's clearly the guy to do that role.
Yeah, and he's really good at it. Jen?
Yeah, moving on to your bit core so far, you've got, obviously Moore's had a very good first season, and you've got two new guys, Greaveson and McGiffin. Do you know much about either of the two new Brits coming on to you?
I've not seen either of them play personally. I just know that obviously they're kind of under 20, under 18 internationals, and they're looking to, I guess, progress their professional career. But McGiffin's come up through kind of the system, started off, down there under 16s, under 18s, and then moved up to NIHL, then up to the EPL. So I guess this is kind of the next step. And I think Greaveson looks, in terms of his experience, he looks very similar to the route that Craig Moore took, and he seemed to adapt to the EIHL kind of life. No worries at all, really. A number of good performances from Craig Moore, so I think, hopefully, Josh Greaveson will go down the same road and do the same.
Cool. And how do you feel about your, almost, there's a gap when it comes to your experience Brits? Obviously, John Dolan and McCluskey played for you guys for quite some time. They haven't been signed. Do you think there's a gap that still needs to be filled there?
I guess you could argue that, yeah. I mean, there'll be big boots to fill, I guess. Of course, it's not done yet, but time is getting on, and I think if they were going to arrive, they would have done. Again, Mark Lefebvre said in his interview the other night that he's not bringing in Dolan, so he might end up elsewhere, or I don't know. But yeah, that'll be interesting, because I mean, for me, whenever you say Dundee Stars, John Dolan's the first guy you think of, because he's been there for that's 13 seasons now. So 4 games in Edinburgh and 1 season in Fife along the way, but mostly he's a Dundee Stars player, so it'll be a big gap.
I do think it's great that obviously they are taking the chance on the younger guys, but I just hope you're not kind of left with a huge gap without having the experienced players. But you need to give the new guys a chance, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, they certainly look like they're ready to take that next step. But right enough, it is a big boots to fill, like I say, because John Dolan pretty much 30 points ish every season, so that's a kind of good backup for the imports. And it's only a couple of seasons since Sam McCluskey won the Brit Day Man of the Year, so it'll be interesting.
Going on back to Dolan for a second, looking at your roster, you've only really got Ben Edmonds as a Brit forward. I know Moore has filled in forward before, but Ben Edmonds is on a two-way for you, and he's your only recognised out-and-out Brit forward just now. Do you think that's a bit of a worry going in, or is there any talk of another one coming in? There is quite a few Brit forwards still out of team just now. Yes,
I've not heard anything personally, but I tend not to until these things are done and dusted, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I think Mark said he's going to run with the 10 forwards or whatever, and at the moment it's looking like they're going to be mostly imports. Ben Edmonds, I'm not sure how much we'll see him. So he did well, but obviously it's really early in his career. He's only 18 or something, so I'm not sure you could expect anything from him other than just to do his best. So yeah, I mean, but sometimes what happens is as we get towards the start of the season, the Stars coach will start to look towards maybe the under-20s or even the Comets and just kind of cherry pick a few guys to bring in as maybe cover or extra options. So that might still well happen, I'm not sure.
And just going back again, sorry, jumping all over the place here, but you've signed someone that I personally love to hate in Kale Tanaka. And you were talking about sandpaper type players earlier, and he's really one that just even gets under my skin and I'm not even playing. So what do you think he'll bring to the team? Obviously Lefebvre knows him well from when he was Blaze coach. Do you think a lot of teams have been criticised for signing within the league, but do you think this is a signing that will benefit the Stars?
Yeah, I think so. I was looking at his kind of history in the Elite League, and this would be like season number 5, I think, for him. So he's got a good experience, and that's something to be valued as well. And I think his profile on Elite Prospects actually says that he gets underneath the skin of opposition players, so you pretty much got it bang on there. So that'll be an interesting one. But I mean, he's not the guy that's going to put up the points for the Stars this season. But I think he'll be there to make a nuisance of himself and maybe to make space for his line mates to then score the points. So it'll be an interesting situation, I think, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play.
Who do you think will be your main point scorer this year? Obviously, you guys have got Vinny Scarcella from Storm, 74 points in 60 games, third top scorer in the league. You impressed with and quite pleased with Vinny Scarcella on your team?
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that Omar Pasha's let all those guys away. Maybe he didn't have an option, I suppose, but they've all gone. So they did so well for the Storm last season as a unit, and they've all gone elsewhere. So, Scarcella, I think, will be probably the guy to score the number of points. But then, we've got Freeman as well, so there's going to be competition for getting the most points. And I'll be interested to see how Scott Brannan gets on given a full season. He only played 11 games for us towards the end of the season last year, and he got 9 points, so he's potentially one to bang up some numbers as well, I think. So it should be good.
Going back to last season, briefly, you had Lacazette to begin with, who returned to the Czech Republic for personal reasons, I believe. Then you had Trevor Koenig in goals, and this year you've went for Joe Fallon, who I've seen a bit of. I used to follow the Las Vegas Wranglers. He was announced really early on. I think it was like the end of March, beginning of April. I think it was one of the first new signings to the league announced. And what do you make of him? Do you think he's a good upgrade in last season?
Yes, I don't think there's anyone who would argue that he wasn't. I mean, as good as Lacazette was, and to be fair, he was a heck of a character as well. I mean, when they did these Q&As in the bar afterwards, after the games, the place was an uproar because he's just such a funny guy. And obviously Trevor Koenig, vast experience. I think he's won something like 30-odd awards over his career, so something else altogether. But given his age, it was always going to be a tough one for him, I think. So I think Joe Fallon looks definitely like he's going to be, if he performs as he has done the last few years, the Stars will be tough to beat, I think, especially given the scoring opportunities that are clearly there as well. So I think Joe Fallon will be a big player.
Lefebvre's put a lot of praise into him. Do you think that could backfire? He said he expects him to be one of the best goalies in the league, or do you think that's just trying to light a fire under him before he comes over?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, sometimes the coach will say things and you're like, ooh, that's maybe a bit harsh. But then right enough, the guy the next week will go away and do something even better. So I guess that's coaching, I suppose. But it looks like Joe Fallon's got a good experience. He's played around different leagues, Norway, Germany and stuff, and the AHL as well. So I think that'll be water off his back, I think.
Cool. So you've got 3 new players kind of signed this year. You've got Felix Poulin, Joey Sides and Matt White. Do you know much about any of the new 3 guys?
Again, it's just looking through their numbers and stuff and their previous experience and that, and I think, yeah, they're looking pretty good as well. Joey Sides looks particularly like he's got good experience. I mean, he's 30, so he's been around. He's got AHL, ECHL experience. He's played in Holland. So he looks like he could do well for us, and he could certainly score some points. I'm not sure about the Poulin fella. That'll be interesting. French Canadians seem to take a different route towards the professional career. They always come through these strange and wonderful leagues that we don't seem to hear of much. But he came recommended, I think, by Nick Riopel. So he's obviously very good if he's been recommended, and he was apparently a roommate with Brett Switzer as well. So there's obviously good connections there and good solid knowledge, I guess, for the coach to make that decision to bring him in. So he looks could be interesting as well.
Is there any players for last season that you wanted to return but have moved on for whatever reason?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I am always surprised that Bobby Chaumont will get you 60 points every season, no question. And yet, every season when he moves on from a team, most fans aren't they bothered? I don't know why that is. It's weird. Because I saw some Fife fans saying, oh, thank God he's not coming back here or whatever. And I'm just thinking, but he gets you 60 points. So I don't know. I would have had him back, definitely.
And just to finish up quickly, what's a realistic target for the season coming for Dundee?
Well, it's going to be tough. I mean, there's no question about it, I don't think. I mean, the coach has got the aim of, obviously, Gardiner Conference and making it to the Nottingham Final Four weekend. We signed our players relatively early, and you're looking at the roster and thinking, yeah, no worries, yeah, should be good. And then you start to see what other guys bring in, and you're like, uh-oh, competition everywhere. I mean, the quality just seems to have gone through the roof all around the league. I mean, even if you look at Edinburgh, they're going to be serious contenders this year, I think. Yeah. So it's going to be really competitive, I think. So personally, I would always be chasing that Gardiner Conference title because it's a realistic aim, I think. And yeah, who knows? Playoffs, it's all about league position, I guess, and then who you end up with in the quarters. And as long as it's not Sheffield, we might be okay.
Thanks for that, Dave. Thanks for your time.
No what?
And that's it for another show. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Goldstone Wealth Management. We'd like to thank you for listening. Thanks to everyone who supported us. The numbers from the last episode were amazing for a pre-season podcast. We'd like to thank Clare Freeman, Andrew Frame and Graeme Murdoch. I hope you've got a sense of humour, guys. You can always get us back. Sean Cowan and Dave Sweetin for joining us. Also a thanks to Stephanie Clark for help editing the show. Remember, you can access the podcast on our apps available on iTunes and Android platforms. You can also find us on Twitter at Purple Army Pod, Facebook Purple Army Podcast, or the forum www.purplearmy.rocks.